Good evening everyone, my name's Rohit and I'm based in Melbourne and I'm a very die-hard St Kilda supporter. I've been supporting the Saints since 1998 and followed them through their good, tough, average times and whatnot. Starting with this video, my aim of these videos is to not only discuss about the form of the team, but my views, my thoughts, where we think we're heading, and any other key updates and what it could mean for the club and supporters. Today's video, I'd like to start by talking about how the season so far before I talk about our performance against Collingwood. We started on a very promising note. Against the Crows, round one, we were annihilated, brought to earth, and have still shown that our record out of Melbourne still needs to be polished. Coming back into Melbourne, not to mine, but to a lot of AFL followers' shock, we beat Geelong at Optus Stadium to open our account with our first win of the season. Great game. Again, it was a game led by a lot of the youngsters, and it's a game that they couldn't forget. Following that, we did an absolute number in Richmond, I think by 82 points, to the tune of 82 points. And then, again, to everyone's kind of shock and horror, we went over to Adelaide Oval and beat Port Adelaide by 17 points. And again, a lot of it was driven by the youngsters. Your Lance Collards, Marcus Winhagers, Hugo Garcias, Isaac Keelers, Darcy Wilson, Nasai Wanganeen Malera. What a year he's having. The list goes on. That much youth talent we have. But then after that, the wheels were slowly starting to fall off for the club. The inconsistently consistent form started to play in. And actually, as disappointing as it was, that April-May month, I actually didn't mind it, funny enough I say that. Because it was an opportunity for me to see where the club is really at with their youngsters. Because they're going to have patches of good periods. And they're going to have patches where they won't be at their best and they'll end up losing. But that's fine. Remember one thing, St Kilda are one of those teams that have very good youth talent. It doesn't get spoken about much, but a lot of media experts do rate the youth talent at St Kilda. The thing is, they've just got to play more games together and develop and develop and develop. There's no shortcut to that. But I'd rather be in the spot that I am if I was a St Kilda player. Funny enough I say that. But we're looking towards our future. Okay, it's not just about right now, right this year. Yeah, we'd love to play finals this year. Still sneaky chance. But it's not about this year. It's about next year and beyond. Seeing what these youth people can do. And why do I say that? Because it's the youth players that are going to be responsible in helping us contend for our next flag. They're going to be responsible in helping us lift that trophy. That's no joke. And while players like Sinclair, Steele, the Brad Hills, Mason Wood, Jimmy Webster, Wilkie have been terrific for a long time, and still their presence around the ground is important for these youngsters, it's time for these youngsters to sort of take the next step, take the responsibility and drive the club forward. And many of them are really doing that in glimpses. Like I think, Mitch Owens is playing his fourth year. Cooper Sharman will be, I think, in his fifth year. Darcy Wilson's in his second year. Toby Travalia, very talented young player. Then last week, we had the Flying Viking Tyru, who did some pretty good, impressive things for his debut. Wasn't a perfect debut, but no debut is perfect, let's be honest. He was terrific, did some good intercept spoils, and as he gets more game time into him, a lot of what he spoiled with the ball are going to be contested marks down the track. But I loved his intent, I loved his endeavour, I loved his urgency as a defender. And that's great. That's what I like seeing in the youngsters. The heart they have. Now Hugo Garcia, everyone remembers what Ross Lyon did to him on the Brisbane Lions game at Marvel, Anzac weekend. A huge talking point about it, the way he sprayed at Hugo Garcia. But guess what? Hugo Garcia responded the next week against Fremantle, who happened to be our opponent this coming round. And who happened to be our opponent where we did a number on them not just long ago. Was it 61 to the tune of 61 points at Marvel? They were terrific, the St Kilda. So looking forward to the game on Sunday. So in summary, it's been an up and down season, but it's a chance. I'll look at it more as a chance to see these youth players and how they're developing, what positions work out best for them. Another youthful player I liked in the team who's really developing nice is Max Hall. Very good user of the ball, so calm, good intent, rarely does silly decisions, takes his time, and it's a great thing for a young player because, you know, a lot of these mistakes are quite common with young players because they're learning their craft. They'll get there. But, you know, for a guy like him who's showing really real potential talent, we're so rapt to have a player like him on the list. Now, before I talk about the Collingwood game, just want to get into a quick build-up about it. It was all about backs to the wall, lost to Bulldogs by similar margin as the first time. Mind you, Bulldogs were an opponent we just played in the space of 8 weeks. Twice in the space of 8 weeks. And they lost. St Kilda, that is. To similar margins. Obvious conclusions. Did St Kilda learn a lot from, you know, the first time we played them? Probably not. But one thing for sure that I wish I had seen more when we played the Bulldogs, see more of our youth play that day. Because I think we went a little bit older on the list. That's okay. Look, I'm not going to question Ross Lyon and the coaching team. They have their selection integrity to follow, but I wish I had seen more, you know, youthful players as part of that integrity. But that's okay, because guess what? Come Collingwood game, I think we fielded a much younger side, and I was excited. Yes, it's against the ladder leaders. I get that. Collingwood have been in great form this year. Let's not take anything away from them. But it was more about the youth. Like I said, and I'll say it again, it's the youth that's going to get us to the next flag. So I'm interested in how they're going about, you know, investing themselves in this game. And I liked what they did. If you could tell me at the start of the game that St Kilda are not going to get within 5 goals and they're going to get blown up because they've got a much younger list against a very experienced list in Collingwood, I'd still take that because guess what? The opposite happened. They were very competitive. Mind you, took Collingwood just the second half of the last quarter to break the game open. Till then, the Saints kept up with them. And again, it's the young players who are very impressive. Darcy Wilson, to name one, had a bit of rough patch in form. Ross the boss made him go back to VFL, made him earn his form, got his place back in the team, did some impressive things. Marcus Winhager did very well on Nick Dacos. I know Dacos ended up getting 30 disposals, but to, you know, keep it up with him, you know, one of the best players in the competition, it's not an easy thing to do. So kudos to Marcus Winhager. I liked the other young players. Travale did his part. I liked what what's his name, Tyroo did. I liked what Mitch Owens did. So they all played their part. Yeah, they were a bit wasteful in the third or fourth quarter with some kicking, but to keep Collingwood's winning margin to within 30 to 40 points, it's a great thing. Because Collingwood are a team who can put teams away very easily. Their experience is so vast that it takes split seconds for them to put a team away. It doesn't matter where you sit on the ladder. So for the boys to match it, bulk of the game, despite not getting the result, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Okay? That felt like a mini win, to be honest, because we really matched it with them. Which now brings us to our next game against Freo on Sunday. And what a game it's going to be. Again, as I said earlier, it's an opponent who we just beat not long ago. And I like the selection lineup. I'm so glad to see a bit more youth come back. The Ari Schoenmaker, Hugo Garcia, Jack Carroll, and most importantly, I'm so rapt to see Liam Henry back in the side. I really hope he has a good first game back because I think we trialled him for the Bulldogs game. It didn't work. And poor bloke, he lost a bit of pre-season because of injury. So he had to really get back into VFL, play consistently, get his body right, and now he's back in. I really hope he plays a good game against his old mob. Remember, he was from Fremantle. And he looked to get traded to St Kilda. So, and he's a very good player. He's an absolute jet. He had a great 2024 last year till he got injured in round 18. He's a highly rated player, got good running skills, very athletic, good user of the ball, and he's got good vision. Okay, you can't say that about many athletic players from our team. So he's such an asset, a valuable asset, and I look forward to seeing what he brings. Now, Fremantle, last time we played them, it reminds me of the Bulldogs scenario. Bulldogs played us first time, they thrashed us. Second time, they were heading into our game, knowing that they have a chance. Well, we're in the Bulldog situation in the sense we thrashed Fremantle the first time, and we're going into this with the edge over them because we've beaten them not long ago. Of course, that was at Marvel Stadium. Of course, Fremantle's record in Melbourne is not the best. But since then, Fremantle have been an improved side. They've started stringing wins together. Some of their key players have stood up. Remember, they're a team looking to play finals, and they've got the home crowd support on Sunday, no doubt. We have to try and quell that. They've got some good match winners. You just got to mention guys like Brayshaw, Caleb Sarong, Luke Jackson, and they can give you headaches on their day. Really looking forward to the matchups. I remember when we played them last. Not only it was a forgetful night for the Dockers. I remember Callum Wilkie limiting Josh Tracy to only one behind. That's a great thing. Josh Tracy, the way he's playing, he's literally playing like a Coleman medalist. Such a great kick of the ball. Takes good marks. So to quell them to one behind, it's a great effort. It's not an easy thing to do. But of course, nothing surprises me about the good defence habits of Callum Wilkie. He is our best defender by infinity. And I can only imagine how bad our losing margins would have been if we didn't have a defender like him, because he really has carried that back line on his shoulders. With Dougal Howard going on and off the side, with some youth coming in, kudos to him. Great defender. I'm just happy we have a player like him to quell such forwards' influence, which is not an easy thing to do, mind you. Josh Tracy, then I think Jai Amis they've got, who can stretch us a little bit. Then Michael Frederick. Then they've got their smalls. Shai Bolton had a forgetful time last time, but he's still a good player. No, I mean, Fremantle just don't pick up these players for nothing. They've seen them as a good fit for the club. Luke Jackson, Sean Darcy, Nat Fyfe. I think now Nat Fyfe's in the side, still playing it okay. So they've got some quality, no doubt. They're not a very high-scoring team. They're a pretty they can be a pretty dour, low-scoring team, but it's what they do with the ball that can be dangerous. They're a good contested team. They can slow the game down on their terms, so we got to look out for that. Of course, Ross Lyon has coached Freo before, and he knows the ins and outs of their system. Remember, he was like, when did he coach them? From 2012 till 2019, almost 10 years of coaching for him. So he has a good understanding, and I just cannot see how we would pivot away from our game structure last time. Last time we went through the corridor, we took the game on, we just suffocated them from grabbing the ball and owning possession, and we got very aggressive with the way we played the game. I just don't see how we'll pivot away from that coming into Sunday's game if we want to win. Of course, this time I don't expect we'll thrash Freo by 61 points like last time, because I said two things. A, they have improved since then. Secondly, it's in front of their home ground. They're not an easy team to thrash in Perth. They might be an easy team to get the 4 points, but they're not an easy team to take to the cleaners in their home deck. And we have to play above that to give ourselves any chance to win. So I just cannot imagine us pivoting from the game structure. It might not lead to a 6-1 point win, but if it leads to a win, I'd suspect it'll be a few goals. Really glad to see Dan Butler, playing a little bit of what we saw him in 2020, 2021. Really missed his presence this year, so glad to see he's there. It just takes the mantle of guys like Jack Higgins, poor bloke, had to bear the brunt of that forward line because of the injuries we've had with other forwards. So great to see him back, and I just look forward to really seeing what we can do on Sunday in terms of replicating close to the effort we did last time against them. I expect this to be like a slog. It won't be a game that will put them away or they'll put us away, provided we bring in our effort. And again, I look forward to seeing what the young players do. Okay. Again, I'm just so invested in them. I'm not thinking about anything else. And I guess if we start thinking like this, you'll feel a bit better following the team, because there's a clear vision of where the list is at and what we're trying to work towards. But you know what? I'd rather be in our situation, because we've really invested in the draft, and there's going to be more youth coming. There's no doubt. We're going to go for some big names. The TDKs, Lee Kalias, Miles Bergman, probably a James Warple. Time will tell. But I can see, I've always trusted Stephen Silwani as a list manager. So any decision, be it incoming or outgoing players, I'll always give the benefit to the club, because I've always felt they know what they're doing. Sometimes tough decisions make us think, do they know what they're doing? But remember one thing: good organisations are made of tough decisions. They can't have easy decisions all the time. I remember Brendan Goddard when he was axed by Essendon, and he gave a farewell speech. He was a bit emotional, understandable. He used to say, good organisations are made from the back of blood, sweat, tears, and tough decisions. I remember BJ Goddard mentioning those 4 words, and I thought, mate, you're spot on. You've hit the nail on the head. So there will be some tough decisions, but it's about our future vision. Okay, we had to turn this list over. I think when Brett Ratton took over, we didn't go young enough. It was all about trying to do a Collingwood, and we were not near the Collingwood standard of playing. So I could see us going younger, getting some big names, and look, at the end of the day, as long as it means we're improving our list, I'm not worried about the method. There's no doubt we have to improve the list. I'm glad that we're making some aggressive calls, looking out for players in the market. We've got to fire a shot somewhere. It doesn't matter what the media say. Let them say what they want. We've got to make a start somewhere, because every time we lose a game, especially badly, I always question the holes in our list. It's not a very bad list, St Kilda's list, but it's not the best either. So it's in that middle road. Got to get it up there. And then that way we'll be taken seriously. And if we want to contend and be a threat to most teams, it all starts with list management. Okay, so I'll leave it up there for my first video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be doing more of this as the weeks go on, for as previews and thoughts on the round so far and whatnot. For any other updates, I'll be sure to do like a quick video on them. But happy for you to follow me and subscribe to the channel. Thanks, guys. Have a great Friday evening, good weekend, and I'll speak to you all next week. Cheers.